Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Tonight, Nigerians join their counterparts across the world to celebrate Eid al-Kabir, a feast that honors Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son in obedience to God's command. The president joins other Muslim faithful at the Dordon Barracks in Lagos for Eid prayers, calls for peaceful coexistence and support for his administration's policies. Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese, Matthew Kuka, urges the president to ensure the protection of lives and property of all Nigerians, says every life taken extrajudicially must be accounted for. And thousands of security forces deployed in the Paris region following the killing of a 17-year-old driver by police during a traffic check on Tuesday.
On Business News tonight, Pan-African Payment and Settlement System signs Memorandum of Understanding with 5 African multinational commercial banking groups.
On Sports News tonight, Europe's third-tier interclub football tournament, UEFA Europa Conference League, to be known as UEFA Conference League from 2024 to 2025 season.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, hails troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces for their sacrifice and resolve to end all threats to the country's sovereignty.
Muslims in Nigeria today joined their counterparts around the world to celebrate Eid al-Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice, the second and the largest of the 2 main celebrations in Islam. Eid al-Adha, also known as Eid al-Kabir, honors the willingness of the Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son, Ismail, as an act of obedience to God's command. However, before Prophet Ibrahim could sacrifice his son in the name of God, and because of his willingness to do so, God provided him with a lamb to sacrifice in his son's place. In commemoration of this intervention, animals are ritually sacrificed by Muslims every year. A part of the meat is consumed by the family that offers the animal, while the rest is distributed to the poor and the needy. Here in Nigeria, prayers are offered at praying grounds where clerics preach on the significance of the day. In Lagos, Muslim faithful gathered at the Obalende prayer grounds at the Dordon Barracks, Ikoyi, for the Eid al-Kabir prayer with the president in attendance. Now, this is President Bola Tinubu's first participation in the religious exercise in Lagos since he became the president. After the prayers, the president asked Nigerians to have faith in the new administration and support government policies, while also calling for peaceful coexistence in the country.
This is not the regular praying ground at Dordon Barracks, Ikoyi, Lagos. The cloudy weather prompted this new open space for the 2023 Eid al-Kabir prayer. It's also a unique occasion because President Bola Tinubu joins Muslim faithful to pray here as President of Nigeria. Over the years, he has offered prayers here as APC national leader, senator representing Lagos State, and Lagos State governor. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rabadu, Deputy Governor of Lagos, Kadri Hamzat, former Governor of Lagos, and former Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, who is also celebrating his birthday today, joined the President for his first religious gathering in Lagos, his home state. One message that usually rings loud and clear during Eid al-Adha is sacrifice, peace and unity, as echoed by the Chief Imam of Lagos State.
As we celebrate this Eid al-Kabir, let us forget our political differences and shun all out of violence to ensure peaceful coexistence and progress of our nation, Nigeria.
Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, who resumed as the President's Chief of Staff barely 2 weeks ago, appeals to Nigerians to give President Tinubu all necessary support to continue on his mission to unify the country.
This is a difficult time for Nigeria, but we will turn that corner. We will turn that corner. All the President needs from you today and tomorrow is your prayers.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Deputy Governor Kadri Hamzat asked Nigerians to be patriotic to the country and pray for guidance for the president.
The spirit of patriotism will reside in all of us, so that we, in our own space, we will do the right thing for this country. Because it's not only the leaders, it is all of us. But we pray that our leaders, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and all our leaders here, on behalf of the people of Lagos State and the governor of Lagos State, we pray that God will grant you the fortitude to actually carry the weight of this country.
As he continues to play a leadership role for the country, President Tinubu says he's hopeful for a better Nigeria as he appeals to citizens to believe in his administration and his plans.
Have faith in the country. Have faith in yourself. Believing that you, as a citizen of this country, you must join hands. No religious identity, no tribal identity. Live with one another in joy and prosperity. It will come. Nigeria will see peace, stability, and God will grant peace to those of us who are in the war front. We spare their life, we give them victory. Those in the hospitals, we give them succor and peace.
Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin.
As the 2023 Eid al-Kabir celebration continues, Nigerians are also admonished to imbibe the virtue of tolerance, peace, and unity.
In Abuja, the nation's capital, the chief imam of the Islamic Brotherhood of Nigeria, Sheikh Abdulsalam Adedokun, is asking Nigerians to be patient with the federal government and be hopeful of a better tomorrow. He was speaking shortly after leading the Eid prayers, where he admitted the Nigerians are going through difficult times, but enjoined them to have faith in Allah. Also at the Eid prayers in Abuja were the Vice President of Nigeria, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Deputy Senate President, among other top government officials.
Muslim faithful throng different prayer grounds in Abuja to observe the Eid al-Kabir. The Vice President of Nigeria, the Deputy Senate President, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and other Muslim faithful are led in observing the congregational prayers.
Okay, sir.
After the prayers, the Deputy Senate President called for prayers for the peace, unity, security and economic development of the country.
We continue to pray that our country continue to remain united, full of hope, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring prosperity and development, substantial development, unprecedented development to come to this country. And we pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all our leaders and everyone.
National Chief Imam of the Islamic Brotherhood of Nigeria used the occasion to appeal to Nigerians to be patient with the federal government in these times of difficulty.
Allah enjoin us to be perseverance, to be patient. And in applying it to the present situation, you will notice that Nigerians generally, we need to be patient now. This is period of being patient with Allah, because whatever situation that comes, Allah is telling you that you have to be patient. And it's out of your patience that you establish your iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing comes except with Allah's permission.
Other leaders of Islamic faith also urged the faithful to live a life of sacrifice.
Whoever in these hard times is not able to afford the ram or the means to slaughter a ram, the Prophet ﷺ has already slaughtered on our behalf thousands of years ago.
We are celebrating Eid al-Adha today. It's a period which all Muslims come together to give us to sacrifice, to slaughter ram, to share with our loved ones.
The Eid celebration climaxes with the traditional slaughtering of ram. With the slaughtering of the ram, the Muslim faithful depart the prayer grounds to observe the rest of the celebration with family and friends.
In other parts of the north, governors and clerics have seized the moment of Eid al-Adha to call for peaceful coexistence and prayers for the country. They are urging Muslims and indeed Nigerians to support their governments for better governance.
Muslim faithful gathered the Eid grounds in Bauchi for the usual prayers. Shortly after the prayers, the Deputy Governor, Awal Jatau, urges residents of the state to embrace peace and support the government to build a greater state. In Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule joined the Muslim faithful for the prayers at the Jibris prayer ground in his hometown in Gudi, Akwanga local government area. After offering the 2 rakat prayers, he harped on religious tolerance.
Respect one another, to respect each other's religion, to live in peace with one another so that we can continue to see prosperity. Because it is only when there is peace that there will be development and there will be prosperity.
And in Niger State, the acting governor, Yakubu Garba, urges the faithful to imbibe the virtues of love, obedience, and sacrifice as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim. He stressed the significance of Eid al-Kabir to the Muslims and called on them to use the occasion to deepen their faith. In Kano State, Governor Abba Yusuf called on the people of the state to remain peaceful throughout the Eid al-Kabir celebration.
Let me seize this opportunity to reiterate on our determination to keep all our campaign promises, especially in safeguarding lives and properties of all citizens, provision of free, quality education, healthcare system, social amenities, and other infrastructural development for the betterment of our citizens.
Meanwhile, the Adamawa State Governor Umar Fintiri was joined by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and other Muslim faithful to offer the 2 rakat prayers at the Eid ground in Yola, the Adamawa State capital. Shortly after the prayers, Governor Fintiri stressed the need for peaceful coexistence as no individual is greater than the country.
We hope and pray that our prayers today will lead us to peace, prosperity and development in the country and Adamawa in particular. It is our fervent prayer also that we will continue to coexist for the overall existence of this country, because we need this country. Nigeria is bigger than an individual, and we'll continue to build her peace and prosperity.
In Zamfara State, Governor Dauda Lawal commiserated with the victims of banditry and terrorism across the state. In his Salah broadcast message to the residents, Governor Lawal acknowledged the challenges confronting the state and urged the residents to come together to actualize and rebuild the state.
It is not just a period for celebration. It is also a time to reminisce about our essence as human beings, which is absorbing the real teachings of Allah.
With messages ranging from peaceful coexistence to the call to imbibe the traits of sacrifice as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim coming from the various governors in these states.
We'll have more on the Eid celebrations. In part 2 after the break, commotion erupts at the Eid prayer ground in Oshogbo, Osun State, as after Governor Ademola Adeleke arrived at the venue to join the Muslim faithful for the Eid prayers. To join us again.
Ovieme.
Oh, I wish you were here.
I'm always with you.
But it's not the same without you.
MTN 5G's amazing technology will change how we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, na MTN 5G.
Everyone dreams of a better tomorrow. A tomorrow fueled by hope for the future. And the memories of unfulfilled aspirations. At ARM, we're all about realizing ambitions. And with decades of innovative wealth creation expertise, ARM has everything you need to go from where you are to where you need to be. Join us. Let's face tomorrow together. ARM. Invested in your tomorrow.
Recover with Astamin, a blend of amino acids and multivitamins.
Hello, this is Premium Pension. How can we help?
Our experts work behind the scenes, enabling our members grow wealth to secure a premium tomorrow. We see your hard work and we make your money work hard for you. We are growing with you in commitment and service. Leveraging technology to meet your demands. Secure your future and pave way for the next generation. Embracing diversity with firm roots across the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCT. Premium Pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
The Duchess International Hospital opened its doors in October 2021. The mission of the hospital is to reverse medical tourism. We take particular care here at the Duchess to bring together a combination of the brightest and the best locally, as well as Nigerians in the diaspora who are interested in returning to do very good work for the benefit of our patients here in this country.
The good thing is that we have all international expertise here, all international facilities here, international people working here. Everything is coming together in a space which was considered not great in terms of the availability of healthcare.
Access Bank, of course, has been able to provide us with a robust range of products and services that has enabled us to deliver that standard and quality of healthcare that is integral to our mission as an organization.
Zenith Bank customers that will win 150,000 Naira every 2 weeks from June 1st, 2023 until May 31st, 2024 in the Zenith Better Life Promo 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account. For more information, visit www.zenithbank.com/betterlife. Live the better life with Zenith Bank.
This is the University of Africa. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add Riz in style. And their reason for imagination is just stunt. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Nigerians joined their counterparts across the world to celebrate Eid al-Kabir, a feast that honors Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son in obedience to God's command. The president joins other Muslim faithful at the Dordon Barracks in Lagos for the Eid prayers, calls for peaceful coexistence and support for his administration's policies. Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese Matthew Kuka urges the president to ensure the protection of lives and property of all Nigerians, says every life taken extrajudicially must be accounted for. And thousands of security forces deployed in the Paris region following the killing of a 17-year-old driver by police during a traffic check on Tuesday. Muslims in the southern part of the country also joined in the Eid prayers at various locations where leaders and clerics reiterated the importance of the occasion and the need to love one another, as well as work towards building a strong nation.
Muslim faithful observing Eid prayers at the prayer ground in Agodi, Ibadan, Oyo State. Political, religious and traditional leaders are also here for the sacred exercise. After the prayers, some leaders pay visits to Governor Seyi Makinde, who admonishes Muslims to reflect on the reason for the season and imbibe the spirit of selflessness encompassed in the tenets of Islam as part of his message for the season.
People try to sow the seed of division. You know, they introduce religion into politics in Oyo State, but thankfully people did not listen to them, so they failed. And we have a united Oyo State.
In Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, Muslim faithful observed the 2 rakat prayer, marking the Eid prayer held at the Lantoro Central Praying Ground in the state capital. The chief imam, Saad Allah Bangbola, charges the faithful to continue to shun all acts that could bring the religion into disrepute, while the state governor, Dr. Abiodun, who is represented, asks Nigerians to support the current reforms in critical sectors of the nation's economy.
The issue of first subsidy, you could see, for instance, that our smuggling has gone down because this subsidy was not being enjoyed by the majority of Nigerians. More money will now be in the pockets of federal government in order to be able to take care of the masses.
It's a similar sacred exercise by Muslim faithful at the district officers' field in Amobia, Awka South local government area of Anambra State. The Sarikin Hausa for Awka Metropolis, Alhaji Garuba Haruna, asks leaders to appreciate the masses who voted for them by making their welfare a priority.
I'm appealing to those who are the leaders now. Please let them look the masses, what the masses need, then to look into their pocket only. They're supposed to know that this leadership, God give it to, and God collect it to the person who He wants. And when God give you this leadership, it give you leadership to go and give the account for the day after. The day of judgment, you are going to account whatever you have, how you lead the people.
Ikboba Slope Eid Prayer Ground in Edo State witnesses quite a turnout by Muslim faithful to mark the Eid celebration. The chief imam of the mosque charges Muslims to demonstrate the true spirit of sacrifice by sharing what they have with their neighbors, and this forms a major part of the reason for the season across the country. After Eid prayers at the Central Mosque in Enugu State, Governor Peter Mbah took time out to visit the faithful, where he called on both Muslims and other Nigerians to make uncommon sacrifices for the growth of the nation.
We pray and hope that you continue to give us that support so that together we can fight insecurity head on.
Muslim faithful in River State are calling on Nigerians with means to assist others with very limited resources, as the Imam echoes the message of the season.
Those that could afford slaughtering ram, they should give to those that could not afford it. Those that could afford slaughtering cow, they should give it to those, to the less privileged. And it will make things to go round, and everybody will share from the merriment of the big Salah.
As Muslim faithful globally celebrate Eid festivities, emphasizing the need for sharing, love, and compassion for each other, here in Nigeria, citizens are hopeful that their expectations for a better country will be realized in good time.
Staying with the Eid al-Kabir, the Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, is asking Nigerians to continue to support and pray for the newly installed leaders in the country to deliver good governance. He also called on security agencies to redouble efforts in the fight against terrorists and other criminals disturbing the peace of the country. The Sultan gave his admonition after the Eid prayers in the Sokoto state capital. Meanwhile, the Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese, Bishop Matthew Kuka, who was at the Sultan's palace, urged the president to ensure the protection of lives and property of all citizens across the country.
I'm here so that I will express my solidarity with His Eminence the Sultan and the Muslim Ummah, both in Sokoto and around the world. You know, this is happening against the backdrop of the tragedy that happened here in Sokoto. And, you know, all of these things call on us to think a bit more clearly about what does religion really mean and what does God say to us. There are people who would have been here to celebrate with us. They are not here. So it's really an opportunity for, and I call on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you know, to set the machinery in place very firmly, even though the machineries exist, for the appreciation of the fact that without ordinary human beings, the least of us, there is no need for us to have a country. We need to protect all our citizens. Anybody who takes a life must be made to account for it, by whatever means. So our religions teach us love. Our religions teach us brotherhood and sisterhood. We are who we are because God created us. And God didn't create anybody on a special day. So I just want to insist, it is the duty and responsibility of those who govern Nigeria, beginning with the president, to ensure that machineries are in place, guardrails are in place to protect our citizens from people who take life on the basis of the false claim of religion. By whatever means, by whatever provocation, nobody has the right to take another person's life.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Pan-African Payment and Settlement System signs Memorandum of Understanding with 5 African multinational commercial banking groups. That's on Business News. Please stay with us.
First Money is Nigeria's biggest and most preferred agent banking network. Thanks to First Money, millions of people are living their dreams. Meet some First Money agents who are driving this.
First Money is the best POS that we use in my area. I started with one container beside me. This is my main branch. I have up to 7 branches.
With First Money, I've been able to employ 6 staffs, which 5 are female. So I see First Money as a business to employ and also to empower ladies.
Through First Money, over 1 million people across Nigeria have their financial services needs met daily. In all the accessible local government areas, you are bound to find First Money agents. With First Money, we're bringing financial inclusion and the many benefits that come with it. You first, First Bank.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection? New Close-Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Close-Up.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Grandma.
What did you do this weekend?
Well, on Friday, I went on a science trip with my classmates to see the gorillas in Rwanda. Then, I watched the Cup final in London with the family. Saturday, my friends and I met up to hunt dragons again. Also, I taught the vacuum cleaner and the TV this new dance everyone's doing. They're really getting into it. And on Sunday, I went to bed watching the world from space. And you? Yes, so Grandma.
With Airtel 5G's lightning-fast speeds and seamless connectivity, you won't believe what's next. Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. We pick fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world to give you Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip.
Welcome back. Still on the Eid celebrations, and in Osun State, there was commotion as Muslim faithful gathered to offer prayers in Osogbo, the state capital. The mild drama began after the state governor, Ademola Adeleke, arrived at the venue, hoping to observe the Eid prayers, but was said to have been surrounded by thugs, prompting the governor to hurriedly leave the prayer ground. Both parties involved in the pandemonium have been explaining what transpired at the scene. There were guests on our program, Politics Today.
I did not see any seat earmarked for Governor Adeleke. I did also not see any protocol of the governor. I did not also see any advance party. I sat in my place. Then the moment after I've been on my seat, one man came and brought talks, seeking to evacuate me from where I was sitting. And of course, the people around the place, as you see from the video you have shown, amateur video, I just saw your TV station, rally around and say it would be unacceptable to get me to leave where I was sitting. So I don't know where and who are saying that a particular seat was reserved for the governor.
What we noticed when we enter is that we enter into a trap. In addition to the issue of taking over the governor's seat, we noticed armed, strange-looking guys positioned all over strategic positions within the Eid ground. When we saw that, when we enter, we thought, well, maybe they are security people. But at the time we enter and we are right close to the front of where we are supposed to pray, we noticed that these people are armed. And while we were watching over that, it was at that point we noticed the commotion, which is being shown here now. So we quickly said to the governor, oh, the security people said, no, let's go back to the car. We're going to secure the governor. We did that. Chief Bidmos and others came. I said, don't worry, everything is calm. By the time we come out again, those strange-looking people were encircling where the governor was staying, including the team. It was at that point we noticed that this is beyond ordinary and we need to move. And that's why quickly we ferried the Gulf into the jeep, surround the jeep, and from there we left. And whatever Senator Ajibola will say, as of today, he has gone to the police, and I know the police will take up the matter.
So let's head to the nation's capital, where Gloria Umezuke is standing by to give us the very latest at our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria, and happy Eid.
Hello, Ayo. Thank you. And same to you. In the spirit of the festivity, the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, is commending troops of the armed forces for their determination towards dislodging existential threats to the unity, security, stability and peace of the country. In a message to felicitate with the troops on the occasion of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, the Chief of Defense Staff says the symbolic values and virtues of unflinching faith and total sacrifice which Eid al-Kabir festival exemplifies also holds true for the supreme sacrifices which the soldiers continue to make in the face of challenges to the sovereignty of the nation. He promises to continue to support officers and men of the armed forces in the discharge of their constitutional duties. Major General Musa also acknowledges the efforts of the president towards repositioning the economy and also reforms in the security sector, pledging the unalloyed loyalty of the Nigerian armed forces to his administration. He equally commends Nigerians for their faith in the ability of the troops to effectively combat threats. In other stories, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says Nigeria cannot decriminalize the use of cannabis because the harmful effects of its usage far outweighs any financial benefits people say will accrue to Nigeria if it is legalized. The Secretary of the NDLEA, Mr. Shedrack Haruna, explained the rationale behind the agency's stance against moves by some individuals to legalize the use of cannabis in the country on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
There is no law, or there's no, when they say they want to pass a bill, it's a bill, of course it has to be debated. We've not been called to any public hearing of that bill. And if we're called to the public hearing, we'll certainly give our own opinion about the bill. Because it is not something that the country can afford at this time, that we allow certain things for cannabis, for recreational use in the country. Even developed countries that have a very effective system have not allowed recreational use of it for now. Some may have allowed for medicinal use, like Canada, which is using it for medicinal purposes and others. But even those ones being used are those without tetrahydrocannabinol. So for recreational use, it's not something any country wants to take it in a hurry, certainly not Nigeria. And the agency will go against such a thing, and the law cannot be passed without input from the public. The type of cannabis grown worldwide, they have different species of them. And the species they have, which they say they have decriminalized in some of those countries, are those without tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the active ingredients that make one to be something else. We have cannabis that is far, far more potent almost 45%, 100% tetrahydrocannabinol. But we are looking at it as, oh, some countries are making money. How do we try to prioritize commercial aspects of harmful drugs to the harm? And indeed, WHO has said the harmful impact of cannabis is far more outweighs the beneficial interest. Currently, we have the law against it, and you can see the prevalence of use in the country, particularly in cannabis and methamphetamine. Not to say that you bring such a law that you say, oh, you allow it for whatever purpose, whether medicinal or recreational use. Of course, that would be a call for a country that will really become a stupor to drug use.
Staying with issues of illicit substances, the government of Taraba State is promising to build rehabilitation centers across the state to address the growing menace of drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking. Well, this follows the revelation by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency that it arrested over 100 people in Taraba State recently for drug-related offenses.
Substance abuse is a social ill that has become a public health concern in Nigeria. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says over 15% of the nation's adult population, representing about 14 million people, indulge in substance abuse. In Taraba State, northeast Nigeria, drug abuse, especially among young people, is on the increase. And this explains why the state government and the Drug Law Enforcement Agency are hosting this conference in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. The purpose of the gathering is to raise the awareness of young people about the dangers of substance abuse.
The command is faced with the challenge of communities not willing to provide useful information to NDLA on drug matters, but are sometimes found in the habit of attacking and even mobbing officers while on operations, thereby shielding the criminals and sustaining insecurity in the state.
The Taraba State Governor is represented by his wife. She gives the assurances of the government to reducing the menace of drug abuse by building rehabilitation centers across the state.
We have to put more efforts to see that this drug addict thing is no more. I know it's not possible, but it can be reduced. If it's reduced, we're going to have less. All these kidnappers and whatever people kill, it's all about drugs. Because when you're on drugs, you don't know when you kill your fellow human being. So by the grace of God, we're going to take up that very seriously in Taraba State. And also, this present government has promised to build a center for them. I'm going to take that up. By the grace of God, we're going to have a center for them where they will stay.
Other attendees also pledged to support the government to end the trend of drug and substance abuse in the state.
NAFDAC is ever willing. We're partnering with NDLA to ensure that this menace and issues pertaining drug abuse are adequately, deliberately, systematically, and scientifically looked at.
It is undeniable that substance abuse is an escalating concern in Nigeria. Nevertheless, the collective agreement at this assembly is that the issue of substance abuse can be effectively tackled by enhancing advocacy efforts and providing better treatment options for affected individuals.
A caution for consumers of soft drinks at this time. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is warning the public of a batch of unwholesome Sprite 50cl glass bottles circulating in the country. NAFDAC raised the alarm in a statement explaining that the product was discovered following a consumer complaint received and investigated by the Post-Marketing Surveillance Unit of the agency. It states further that at the point of purchase and supplier's address, over 5 crates of the implicated batch of Sprite 50cl glass bottles were discovered to be contaminated with particles. The agency says it has directed all zonal directors and state coordinators to carry out surveillance and mop up the implicated batch of the unwholesome product. NAFDAC also says it has directed manufacturers, Nigerian Bottling Company Limited, Abuja plant, to recall the implicated batch of the unwholesome product and report to it for effective monitoring. Well, that's it from the nation's capital. We go over now to Melinda in Lagos for business news.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Many thanks, Gloria. Welcome to Business News. The Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PASS, has signed a memorandum of understanding with 5 African multinational commercial banking groups. According to the Financial Market Infrastructure, these significant partnerships signed with the UBA Group, Access Holdings, Ecobank Group, KCB Group, and Standard Bank Group aims to transform the settlement of cross-border transactions across the African continent. The signature of these memoranda signifies a monumental step forward in the pursuit of seamless cross-border trade payments throughout the almost 40 countries covered by these banks. The broad collaboration between PASS and the African commercial banks will pave the way for enhanced efficiency, transparency, and reliability in intra-African settlement. The Debt Management Office, DMO, says it plans to issue Federal Government of Nigeria bonds valued at 1.2 trillion naira in its third quarter bond issuance calendar for the year. Key highlights of the bond issuance shows that the DMO will reopen a 14.55% April 2029 FG bond valued between 80 to 100 billion naira on July the 17th. On August the 14th, the DMO says it will again reopen the 14.55% April 2029 FG bonds valued between 80 to 100 billion naira with term to maturity of 5 years and 8 months. On September the 11th, the DMO will again reopen the 14.55% April 2029 federal government bonds valued between 80 to 100 billion naira with a new term to maturity of 5 years, 7 months. In the forex market, the naira appreciated against the dollar at the official market as the foreign exchange market closed for a 2-day holiday. Figures from the FMDQ Securities Exchange show that on Tuesday, the naira gained 0.67% to 763 naira to a dollar at the investors and exporters I&E window. That's compared to the 768 naira 17 kobo it closed at on Monday. At the same time, daily foreign exchange market turnover rose by 23.98% to $245.65 million on Tuesday from $198.13 million recorded the previous day. On June the 14th, the Central Bank of Nigeria had announced the unification of all segments of the FX market, which signals the floating of the naira. Recent data by the African Development Bank shows that Botswana's gross domestic product GDP expanded by 5.8% in the last fiscal year, reflecting a strong economic performance. The Chief Executive Officer of the Botswana Investment and Trade Center says the growth can be attributed to both the diamond industry and efforts to diversify the economy into other sectors such as tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing. He made this known during an interview with journalists in Botswana.
We've seen a number of very sizable agricultural producers locating in Botswana. For example, there is one that we attracted from Limpopo in South Africa. They haven't left Limpopo, they just expanded into Botswana. They have set up the largest citrus farming activity located in one farm in the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, scaling up to almost 1 million citrus trees. They are experiencing their first harvest in 7 months, I think in January. And you can imagine we will not be consuming all those oranges here, so we are helping them to cultivate export markets. There are new mines also that have recently opened, particularly in exploiting that western side copper belt. We have 2 that have gone into production. So we have seen a lot of satisfactory economic activity across most of our sectors, which is contributing to this growth.
More than $200 billion may have been stolen from the United States government's COVID-19 relief initiatives, and that's according to new estimates from a federal watchdog. Numbers issued by the U.S. Small Business Administration Inspector General are much greater than the office's previous projections and underscore how vulnerable the Paycheck Protection and COVID-19 Economic Injury Disaster Loan programs were to fraudsters, especially during the early stages of the coronavirus pandemic. The watchdog is currently investigating federally funded programs that helped small businesses survive the worst public health crisis in more than 100 years. The SBA Inspector General had previously estimated fraud in the COVID-19 disaster loan program at $86 billion and the Paycheck Protection Program at $20 billion. The local stock market is closed today for the Salah holiday after appreciating in value by about $421 billion in Tuesday's trading session and hitting a 15-year high. The Nairobi Securities Exchange is also closed for the Eid celebration. Let's see how other major equities performed today. That's Business News. It's back to you, Ayo.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you so much, Melinda. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia deserved defeat and a tribunal after the city of Kramatorsk came under missile attack. 11 people have been killed by Russian missiles that hit the center of Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine on Tuesday. Among them, 14-year-old twin sisters Yulia and Anna Akshenchenko. Russia responded to the accusation that they were behind the attack by again saying they don't target civilian infrastructure. Here's Simon Puzy with more on this and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Russia deserves defeat and a tribunal after the city of Kramatorsk came under missile attack. 11 people have been killed by Russian missiles that hit the center of the city in eastern Ukraine, among them 14-year-old twin sisters. 3 children were among the dead, and another 56 people were injured, with rescuers working through the night and into the morning to pull them from the rubble. Russia responded to the accusation that they were behind the attack by again saying they don't target civilian infrastructure.
We all agree that NATO's door is open. We have demonstrated that recently by inviting Finland and Sweden. We all agree that Ukraine will become a member of this alliance, and we all agree that it's for the NATO allies and Ukraine to decide when the time is right to invite Ukraine to be a member of the alliance.
France's president has appealed for calm after Tuesday's fatal shooting of a teenager by police in the capital, while also calling the incident unforgivable. Emmanuel Macron's comments came after police shot a 17-year-old who refused to stop his car when asked. The car then crashes, with the teenager later dying in hospital from his wounds. A night of riots followed in Paris, with cars being torched. In Nanterre, the area just west of Paris where the teenager was killed, some 31 people were arrested following the disorder. The officer accused of shooting him has been detained on homicide charges, as the video appears to disprove his initial claims that he had fired his gun because he felt his life was in danger. A former US Marine who was filmed placing a man in a fatal chokehold on a New York subway train has pleaded not guilty to criminal charges. 24-year-old Daniel Penny was indicted in court on Wednesday on counts of second-degree manslaughter and negligent homicide. He was arrested 11 days after the death of the 30-year-old Jordan Neely on May the 1st. Video of the confrontation on an F-train subway car showing Mr. Neely being pinned down for several minutes sparked protests across the United States. Joe Biden has commented on camera about Vladimir Putin and the Wagner Group for the first time.
To what extent has Vladimir Putin been weakened by recent events? It's hard to tell, but he's clearly losing the war in Iraq. He's losing the war at home. And he has become a bit of a pariah around the world. And it's not just NATO. It's not just the European Union. It's Japan. It's 40 nations.
He was speaking to reporters at the White House prior to departing on a trip to Chicago. Oscar-winning actor Kevin Spacey has appeared in a London court at the start of his 4-week trial on a dozen sex offence charges. The 63-year-old denies allegations of historic offences committed against 4 men, which are said to have taken place between 2001 and 2013. The charges against Mr. Spacey include repeated incidents of indecent and sexual assaults and a more serious offence of causing a person to engage in penetrative sexual activity without consent, which carries a maximum punishment of life in prison. And Muslim pilgrims have performed a symbolic stoning of the devil ritual, the riskiest part of the annual Hajj pilgrimage, as large numbers of people gathered to perform the ritual. Pilgrims arrived in Mina after they spent the night in Muzdalifa Plain, where they gathered pebbles to throw at stone columns symbolizing the devil. The ritual of stoning, known as Jamarat, marks the first day of Eid al-Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice, which is celebrated by Muslims across the globe. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. European football's governing body, UEFA, has shortened the name of its third-tier competition from Europa Conference League to Conference League from the 2024-2025 season. The 2024 and 2025 final will be held in Athens and Wrocław, respectively, while Lisbon will host the 2025 Women's Champions League final at Sporting Estadio José Alvalade. The new Hagia Sophia Stadium, home of AEK anthems, will be observed by UEFA officials until this November before confirming the 2024 finals there. Senegal goalkeeper Eduardo Mendy has left Chelsea to join Saudi Arabian side Al Ahly. The Saudi Pro League has become an attractive destination for Europe-based players since Cristiano Ronaldo moved to Al Nassr last January. League champions Al Ittihad signed Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema earlier this month, while the club also confirmed former Chelsea midfielder N'Golo Kante's move last week. Mendy, who has fallen behind Kepa Arrizabalaga in the pecking order, joined Premier League side from Stade Rennais in 2022. And the 31-year-old played a pivotal role as the London club won the second Champions League title. U.S. gymnastics star Simone Biles is set to make her first competitive appearance since the Tokyo Olympics after entering the U.S. Classic. The 26-year-old will take part in the single-day event on August 5, having been out of action for the past 2 years following a withdrawal from several events in Tokyo. Biles, who has won 4 gold medals at the 2016 Rio Olympics, cited the pressure of living up to expectation and the need to protect her mental health for the decision to pull out of events in Tokyo. And that's it on Sports News. It's back to you, Ayo.
Thank you so much, Chris. And the main news again. Nigerians today join their counterparts across the world to celebrate Eid al-Kabir, a feast that honors Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son in obedience to God's command. The prayers were offered at praying grounds nationwide, where clerics preached on the significance of the day. That's the news at 10. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. From all of us here, you have a good night and happy Eid.
Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Jeffrey Uzon. Here are the reports and stories we're tracking, but first we begin with the headlines. Muslims celebrate Eid al-Adha as President Bola Tinubu prays in Lagos. State governors felicitate with Muslims seek peace and unity for the country. An Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria gets new president. That's where we're kicking things off from, as Muslims today join the rest of the world to celebrate Eid al-Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice, the second and the largest of the two main celebrations in Islam. Eid al-Adha, also known as Eid al-Kabir, honors the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ishmael as an act of obedience to God's command. However, before Ibrahim could sacrifice his son in the name of God, and because of his willingness to do so, God provided him with a lamb to sacrifice in his son's place. In commemoration of this intervention, animals are ritually sacrificed by Muslims every year. Part of the meat is consumed by the family that offers the animal, while the rest of the meat is distributed to the poor and the needy. Here in Nigeria, prayers are offered at praying grounds where clerics preach the significance of the day.
This is not the regular praying ground at Dodan Barracks, Ikoyi, Lagos. The cloudy weather prompted this new open space for the 2023 Eid al-Kabir prayer. It's also a unique occasion because President Bola Tinubu joins Muslim faithful to pray here as President of Nigeria. Over the years, he has offered prayers here as APC national leader, senator representing Lagos State, and Lagos State governor. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rabadu, Deputy Governor of Lagos, Kadri Hamzat, former Governor of Lagos, and former Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, who is also celebrating his birthday today, joined the President for his first religious gathering in Lagos, his home state. One message that usually rings loud and clear during Eid al-Adha is sacrifice, peace and unity, as echoed by the Chief Imam of Lagos State.
It is important to note that for any meaningful progress, success, achievement, national development, there must be a certain level of sacrifice, commitment and dedication and concerted effort. It is also important for us to note that Allah does not love any call to tribalism or ethnic superiority among His servants, but He loves mutual cooperation, unity, stability, justice, and righteousness. As we celebrate this Eid al-Kabir, let us forget our political differences and shun all out of violence to ensure peaceful coexistence and progress of our nation, Nigeria.
Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, who resumed as the President's Chief of Staff barely 2 weeks ago, appeals to Nigerians to give President Tinubu all necessary support to continue on his mission to unify the country.
Mr. President needs your support. As you have rallied around him, as you continue to support him, Almighty Allah will continue to support you as well. This is a difficult time for Nigeria, but we will turn that corner. We will turn that corner. All the President needs from you today and tomorrow is your prayers.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Deputy Governor Kadri Hamzat asked Nigerians to be patriotic to the country and pray for guidance for the President.
The spirit of patriotism will reside in all of us, so that in our own space we will do the right thing for this country. Because it's not only the leaders, it is all of us. But we pray that our leaders, as well as Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all our leaders here, on behalf of the people of Lagos State and the governor of Lagos State, we pray that God will grant you the fortitude to actually carry the weight of this country. Because
as he continues to play a leadership role for the country, President Tinubu says he's hopeful for a better Nigeria as he appeals to citizens to believe in his administration and his plans.
Have faith in the country. Have faith in yourself. Believing that you, as a citizen of this country, you must join hands. No religious identity, no tribal identity. Live with one another in joy and prosperity. It will come. Nigeria will see peace, stability, and God will grant peace to those of us who are in the war front. We spare their life, we give them victory. Those in the hospitals, we give them succor and peace.
Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin.
As the 2023 Eid al-Kabir celebration continues, Nigerians are also admonished to imbibe the virtue of tolerance, peace, and unity.
And it's all about the festivities. In his Salam message, former President Muhammadu Buhari wishes Nigerian Muslims a happy Eid and to those on pilgrimage Hajj Mabrur a safe return. He said, in his words, leading a country like Nigeria is one of the hardest challenges in life, and he urges Nigerians to fully support the Tinubu administration to succeed. He believes that leadership is a challenging task that demands the sacrifices and support of citizens for it to be accomplished. Let's now head to Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, where Muslim faithful in their numbers joined others around the world to observe the 2 Rakah prayers, marking the Eid Kabir prayers held at the Lantoro Central Praying Ground in the state capital. The Chief Imam, Sarad Bangbola, used the occasion to admonish faithful of their obligations to their God and urge them to continue to shun all those acts that are capable of bringing disrepute to religion.
Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we will work closely, we will work collaboratively with Bola Tinubu as president to bring about those changes. And when those changes happen at the federal level, of course, the subnationals, including Ogun State, will also have that new sunlight, that fresh breath of air to be able to do more things, but more money will be available to the state and invariably there will be development. So I want to appeal to our people, just like we are here today, the process of coming to Eid was a sober moment. But we are going home now. We are rejoicing. We are going to celebrate. The same way you will fast for 30 days and then there will be Salah. You will celebrate. I can assure you that Bola Tinubu knows exactly what he's doing. He's provided. You can even see the executive presence. When a leader has presence like he has, and he has experience behind him, and he also has the good sense to choose right people for the job. Nigerians, better days are here.
And that was a representative of the state governor in that state. Let's go to your state. Governor Seyi Makinde has congratulated all Muslim faithful in the state and beyond on the celebration of Eid al-Kabir, urging them to imbibe the spirit of selflessness encompassing the tenets of Islam. Talking to journalists after the Eid prayers, Governor Makinde urged them to always do all they can to develop the state, even as he promises to always have the best interest of the residents in mind. He thanked the residents for refusing to toe the path of religious discord sown during the campaigns, but embracing unity against all odds.
About 3 months ago,